The chamber of the Galactic Council glowed with the muted light of stars, visible through the expansive crystalline dome that arched high above the assembly. Hundreds of alien species occupied their designated places, an orchestra of life forms whose diversity spanned every conceivable shape, size, and texture. Some floated in anti-gravity fields, others rested on pedestals, and a few simply sprawled across their platforms in gelatinous heaps. The Grand Convener, an elongated, serpentine entity adorned with bioluminescent ribbons, presided over the proceedings from the central dais. At the heart of the chamber, a holographic display projected the image of Earth, blue, green, and white, a stark contrast to the grim resolution being discussed. Humanity, a newcomer to the galactic fold, had been assigned its tribute demand. Like every other species inducted into the Council, Earth was required to offer its tribute, a token of submission and unity within the Grand Alliance. For centuries, the Council had used this tradition to assert dominance and reinforce the hierarchy of the stars. Ambassador Jola Krith, representing the ZYX Dominion, unfurled his segmented appendages and clicked his mandibles. His multifaceted eyes glinted as he addressed the assembly. Let us not forget, esteemed counselors, that tribute is more than mere ritual. It demonstrates the willingness of the newcomer to integrate, to subordinate their ambitions for the collective good. Indeed, rumbled Counselor Devar, a towering, crystalline being who pulsed with internal light. Let us see if humanity can meet the expectations placed upon them. Their compliance will determine their standing. From her place among the representatives, Ambassador Evelyn Price of Earth observed the unfolding discussion with carefully concealed unease. Her tailored diplomatic suit was immaculate, her posture measured, but behind her composed expression, her mind churned with concern. Earth was young in its membership, too fresh to challenge the established norms of the Council. Yet the demand for tribute bristled against humanity's fiercely independent spirit. The tribute request had been simple in words, brutal in intent: weapons, resources, or submission. Choose wisely, the Galactic Council had declared. Humanity's response was due within the month. Back on Earth, the mood was anything but calm. The United Earth Alliance headquarters, a sprawling complex nestled deep within Geneva's alpine valleys, bustled with activity. Scientists, military personnel, and diplomats argued in meeting rooms, their discussions punctuated by shouted disagreements and the occasional frustrated sigh. Colonel Marcus Kane, a decorated officer with salt and pepper hair and a reputation for unconventional thinking, stood at the edge of a holographic table. Around him were Earth's top strategists and advisors. The hologram displayed the tribute demands alongside projections of Earth's limited interstellar assets. So, what's the plan? Kane asked, his voice cutting through the din. We hand over our weapons, our materials, and leave ourselves defenseless. A civilian advisor, a bespectacled economist, raised his hands in a placating gesture. Colonel, the alternative is worse. If we refuse or fail to meet their expectations, the Council could impose sanctions or even expel us from the Alliance. Humanity can't afford isolation. Isolation might be better than kneeling. Kane shot back. They're testing us. They want to see if we'll bow. Ambassador Price entered the room, her presence commanding instant silence. She carried herself with the weight of Earth's burden but the fire of defiance. Colonel Kane is correct, she said, setting a data pad on the table. This isn't just about tribute. It's about setting a precedent. If we give in now, we'll always be seen as weak. The room fell into an uneasy silence as her words hung in the air. Finally, General Harland, a pragmatic and battle-scarred veteran, broke it. So what do we do? Fight them? We've got a fleet of 12 ships against their thousands. Not fight, Price said, a thin smile playing on her lips. Deliver. The room stared at her, puzzled. You said it yourself, she continued. They're testing us. They don't expect us to resist outright. But they also don't expect us to redefine the game. We'll give them their tribute, on our terms. The plan was audacious. Humanity would deliver its tribute, but not as the Council intended. Weeks of frenzied preparation followed as factories ramped into overdrive, weapons forged not for surrender but for spectacle. The United Earth Alliance marshaled its brightest minds, crafting a tribute that would turn submission into defiance. Colonel Kane oversaw the effort with relentless determination. Every piece of technology, every ounce of material was scrutinized, refined, and prepared with precision. "If they want tribute," he muttered during one long night in the engineering bay, "let's give them something they'll never forget." Ambassador Price coordinated the political aspect, carefully framing Earth's response to ensure plausible deniability. Officially, humanity would fulfill the tribute demand as required. Unofficially, it would send a message. By the end of the month, Earth's offering was ready. A colossal transport ship, the Resolute, was loaded with the fruits of humanity's ingenuity, a cargo that would challenge the Council's assumptions and perhaps alter humanity's fate forever. The day of the tribute delivery arrived. The Resolute, gleaming under the light of distant stars, ascended from Earth's surface, its hull carrying the weight of humanity's hopes and defiance. On board, Colonel Kane stood alongside a contingent of Earth's best, engineers, soldiers, and diplomats, all sworn to ensure the success of the mission. In the Galactic Council chamber, anticipation crackled through the air. Representatives murmured among themselves, their curiosity piqued by the rumors surrounding humanity's offering. "They will break," Brisvier, a reptilian delegate, hissed to his peers. "Their kind always does." Ambassador Price stood calmly in the chamber, her expression unreadable as the Resolute arrived in orbit above the Council's station. Through a live transmission, Colonel Kane's face appeared on the central screen, his demeanor steady and unyielding. "Galactic Council," he began, his voice resonant. "On behalf of Earth, we deliver our tribute." As the cargo bay doors of the Resolute opened, the chamber fell silent. What humanity had sent was no mere collection of weapons or resources. It was a statement, a declaration forged in steel and fire. The vast expanse of space shimmered with the light of distant stars as the Resolute's cargo bay doors fully opened, revealing the contents of Earth's offering. A hushed silence filled the Galactic Council chamber as delegates leaned forward, their expressions ranging from curiosity to skepticism. Inside the Resolute, an array of massive weapons gleamed, an arsenal of Earth's finest military creations. But it wasn't just the weapons themselves that caused a ripple of shock, it was the deliberate way they were displayed. Each weapon had been meticulously disassembled, the individual components laid out like a tapestry of deadly ingenuity. The centerpiece of the display was a series of human skulls, replicas forged in steel, engraved with Earth's motto, "Defiant until the end." Around the skulls were banners made of reinforced aloes, etched with Earth's war histories, each battle chronicled with stark precision. From the World Wars to the Martian Uprising, it was a brutal showcase of humanity's resilience and defiance. Colonel Marcus Kane's voice cut through the stillness of the chamber, carried from the Resolute through a live feed. "Galactic Council, Earth's tribute represents the strength and determination of humanity. These are not just weapons. They are the embodiment of our history, our sacrifices, and our resolve. With this tribute, we show you who we are." For a moment, the council chamber was silent, the weight of humanity's message sinking in. Then the murmurs began. Some delegates whispered in awe, others in disbelief. A few, like Ambassador Grass-Talkna, seethed with barely concealed outrage. "They mock us," Grask hissed to those nearby. "This is not tribute, it's an insult." Ambassador Price, standing among the representatives, remained calm, her expression unreadable. She had anticipated this reaction. Humanity's tribute wasn't meant to placate, it was meant to challenge. On board the Resolute, Kane watched the reaction through a series of monitors. His jaw tightened as he noted the expressions of certain delegates. "They're not going to take this lying down," he muttered to the ship's pilot, a young officer named Lieutenant Vega. "We didn't expect them to," Vega replied, her voice steady. "That's why we came prepared." Kane nodded, his gaze flicking to the arsenal behind him. The Resolute wasn't just carrying Earth's tribute, it was also carrying its defenses. Hidden among the disassembled weapons were deployable drone turrets, kinetic shields, and experimental EMP disruptors. If things turned hostile, humanity wouldn't be caught off guard. Back in the council chamber, the debate raged. Ambassador Grask was the loudest voice, his mandibles clicking furiously as he addressed the assembly. "This is an affront to the traditions of the Galactic Council," he bellowed. "Humanity was asked to show submission, to demonstrate unity, and instead they flaunt their violence, their savagery. We cannot let this stand." Several other delegates nodded in agreement, their postures rigid with disapproval. But not all were aligned with Grask. Lixin of the Elinari, her bioluminescent patterns shifting in thoughtful waves, raised a delicate hand. "Ambassador Grask," she said, her tone measured, "while humanity's tribute is unconventional, it is undeniably impressive. They have given us a window into their culture, a glimpse of their history and resilience." "Resilience?" Grask snapped. "This is arrogance. They mock our traditions." "And yet," Lixin replied, her glowing patterns shifting to a calm blue, "they have followed the letter of the law. Tribute was asked for, and tribute was given. Do we punish them for their creativity?" The room murmured in agreement and dissent, the delegates split on how to proceed. Ambassador Price seized the opportunity to speak. Stepping forward, she addressed the assembly with calm authority. "Esteemed councilors," she began, "humanity's tribute was crafted not out of arrogance, but out of respect. Respect for the gravity of this ritual and for the Council's traditions. We understand the importance of unity, but unity does not mean uniformity. Our tribute reflects who we are as a species, our history, our struggles, and our resolve to stand beside you as equals." Her words carried a weight that silenced even Grask. The delegates listened intently, their opinions shifting as she continued. "We do not offer submission," Price said, her voice firm. "We offer strength. Strength forged in the fires of adversity, tempered by the will to survive. Humanity does not seek to dominate or defy this council. We seek to contribute. But we will not do so at the cost of who we are." As the council deliberated, tensions began to rise. Grask's faction pushed for sanctions, arguing that humanity's tribute was a thinly veiled threat. Others, like Lixin and Jarnock of the Delaxi, saw it as a bold statement of capability. The debate reached its peak when an alert blared through the chamber. The holographic display shifted to show a fleet of ships approaching the Council's orbital station. The vessels, sleek and predatory, bore the insignia of the ZYX Dominion, Grask's faction. "What is this?" Jarnock rumbled, his massive form looming over the delegates. Grask's mandibles twitched in what might have been a smirk. "Precautionary measures. If humanity refuses to respect the Council's authority, we must enforce it." Ambassador Price's heart sank. She turned to the hologram of Colonel Kane, who had been monitoring the Council session from the Resolute. "Colonel," she said, her voice low, "we may have a problem." "Understood," Kane replied, his tone grim. He turned to his crew. "Deploy defensive measures. Prepare for hostilities." The ZYX fleet drew closer, their weapons systems powering up. On board the Resolute, Kane's crew moved with precision, activating the ship's hidden defenses. Drone turrets hummed to life, forming a protective grid around the vessel. The ship's experimental kinetic shield shimmered faintly, a barrier against the looming threat. "Ambassador," Kane said through the comms, "if they fire, we'll hold our ground. But this could escalate quickly." Price nodded, her mind racing. She turned back to the Council, her voice cutting through the tension. "This is a violation of Council protocols. Humanity has followed the rules. We demand that this fleet stand down." Grask sneered. "Humanity brought this upon themselves." Before Price could respond, a new voice filled the chamber, Supreme Chancellor Arvist, their crystalline form glowing with an internal light. "Enough!" Arvist's voice resonated through the hall, silencing the debate. "This council will not descend into chaos. The tribute has been delivered. Humanity's response will be evaluated in due time. Until then, no action will be taken against them." Grask's mandibles clicked furiously, but he bowed his head in reluctant compliance. The ZYX fleet halted, their weapons powering down, The tension eased, but the conflict was far from over. Humanity had made its stand, but the repercussions were only beginning. On board the Resolute, Kane and his crew remained on high alert, knowing that the line between tribute and defiance was dangerously thin. Ambassador Price stood firm in the council chamber, her gaze unwavering. Humanity had delivered its tribute, not with submission, but with strength. And the galaxy was watching. The calm that followed the Supreme Chancellor's command was fragile, a brittle veneer over the simmering tension in the Galactic Council chamber. While Grask Tokna's fleet had stood down, the implications of humanity's defiance lingered heavily in the air. The ZYX ambassador's seething glare was a constant reminder that this confrontation was far from over. Colonel Marcus Kane paced the command center aboard the Resolute, his team maintaining a vigilant watch on the ZYX fleet. Every scan, every movement of the Dominion ships was logged and analyzed, the crew ready for the slightest hint of aggression. Status update, Kane barked. Lieutenant Vega, seated at a glowing console, didn't look up. ZYX fleet holding position. Weapons systems inactive for now, but they're keeping their targeting arrays locked on us. Kane exhaled sharply. They're waiting for an excuse. Then we don't give them one, Vega replied. But if they fire? Kane's grim smile said it all. If they fire, we remind them why Earth's called a death world. Back in the council chamber, Ambassador Price stood her ground. The delegates murmured among themselves, their reactions to humanity's tribute ranging from shock to begrudging respect. Lixon of the Elenari approached Price, her glowing patterns shifting in curiosity. You took a great risk today, Ambassador, Lixon said, her melodic voice soft but firm. The ZYX do not take challenges lightly. Price turned to face her, her posture resolute. Humanity didn't come here to be underestimated. The ZYX pushed us, and we pushed back. If they think they can intimidate us into submission, they're mistaken. And if they retaliate? Lixon asked, tilting her head. Then we'll defend ourselves, Price replied. And we'll show the galaxy what happens when you try to bully a Deathworlder. The tension came to a head when a sudden alarm blared across the council chamber. Holographic displays shifted to reveal an incoming distress signal. The source, a nearby trade convoy under attack by an unidentified fleet. The convoy was an essential lifeline for the council, carrying critical supplies to outer colonies. Supreme Chancellor Arvist's crystalline form glowed brighter, their voice cutting through the chamber. This convoy must be protected. Who among us will respond? The chamber fell silent. The ZYX Dominion's fleet, while close enough to intervene, made no move to act. Grask's mandibles twitched, his gaze deliberately avoiding Arvist's piercing light. Ambassador Price stepped forward without hesitation. Humanity will respond. Grask let out a sharp hiss. Your kind has barely ventured beyond your own system. This is not your fight. Price turned to him, her expression steely. If you won't act, we will. Supreme Chancellor Arvist inclined their form in approval. Very well. Humanity, the Council will observe your actions. Price activated her comms, addressing Kane aboard the Resolute. Colonel, we have a new mission. Protect the convoy at all costs. Kane's reply was immediate. Understood, Ambassador. Moving out. The Resolute, and its escort of 3 Earth-made frigates adjusted course, engines flaring as they raced toward the distress signal. Inside the command center, the atmosphere was electric. Officers coordinated with precision, their faces a mix of determination and anticipation. As the convoy came into view, the situation became clear. A fleet of sleek, black ships surrounded the trade vessels, their sharp designs and red energy signatures unmistakable. The raiders were from the Ketran Syndicate, a notorious group of mercenaries and pirates known for preying on vulnerable targets. Enemy ships identified, Lieutenant Vega reported. 4 corvettes and 2 cruisers. Heavily armed. Kane's jaw tightened. And the convoy? 3 freighters, minimal defenses, Vega replied. They're sitting ducks. Kane didn't hesitate. Bring us into firing range. Weapons hot. Let's show these raiders they picked the wrong fight. The Resolute barreled into the fray, its weapons blazing. Pulse cannons fired precise bursts of energy, striking the lead Ketran corvette and sending it spiraling out of control. The Earth frigates flanked the convoy, deploying shields to protect the freighters from incoming fire. The Ketrans, caught off guard by the sudden resistance, scrambled to regroup. Their cruisers unleashed a barrage of plasma fire, but the Resolute's experimental kinetic shields absorbed the brunt of the attack, rippling with blue light. "Shields holding," Vega reported, her hands flying over the controls. "For now." Kane leaned forward, his voice sharp. "Target their cruisers. Disable their engines." Turrets rotated with mechanical precision, firing concentrated blasts at the nearest Ketran cruiser. The ship's engines erupted in a cascade of sparks, leaving it dead in the water. The raiders' formation began to falter. In the council chamber, the delegates watched the battle unfold through holographic displays. The room buzzed with astonishment as the humans fought with a ferocity and coordination few had expected. "They're outnumbered," Jarnock of the Galaxy rumbled, his deep voice filled with reluctant admiration. "And yet they're winning." Grask's mandibles twitched in frustration. "This changes nothing. They're reckless. One mistake, and they'll be destroyed." Lixin, her glowing patterns shifting to a vibrant green, turned to him. "And yet they act while others hesitate." On the battlefield, the tide turned decisively in humanity's favor. The second Ketran cruiser attempted to retreat, but the Resolute's drones swarmed it, disabling its weapons and engines. The remaining corvettes, realizing they were outmatched, broke formation and fled into the void. "Enemy ships retreating," Vega reported, her voice tinged with triumph. Kane nodded, his expression grim but satisfied. "Good. Secure the convoy and tend to the wounded." The Resolute docked with the largest freighter, its crew moving quickly to assist the shaken traders. Kane stepped aboard, his presence a calming force amidst the chaos. The freighter's captain, a reptilian Zethari, approached him, her voice trembling with gratitude. You saved us," she said. "Why? We're not even of your species." Kane's reply was simple. "Because it was the right thing to do." As the convoy was secured and the Resolute prepared to return to the council station, Kane addressed his crew. "Today, we showed the galaxy who we are. Not just fighters, but protectors. Remember that." The crew erupted into cheers, their spirits soaring. For humanity, this wasn't just a victory, it was a statement. Back in the council chamber, Supreme Chancellor Arvist addressed the assembly. "Humanity has acted with courage and resolve. Their tribute may have challenged tradition, but their actions have shown their worth." The chamber erupted into debate, but one thing was clear: humanity had cemented its place in the galaxy. Grask fumed silently, his defeat clear. Price, however, stood tall, her gaze steady. The battle was over, but the war for respect had just begun. The Resolute and its convoy of freighters glided into the Galactic Council's orbital station, escorted by the Earth-made frigates. The glow of their engines lit up the docking bay, a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. The convoy's survival had sent a clear message: humanity would not only meet the galaxy's expectations but exceed them in ways no one anticipated. Ambassador Evelyn Price stood at the docking platform, waiting as Colonel Marcus Kane and his crew disembarked. Kane's uniform bore the scuffs of battle, his face shadowed with exhaustion but lit by a quiet pride. Behind him, his officers carried holographic records of the battle, their steps purposeful as they approached the council chamber. "You made it," Price said, her voice steady but tinged with relief. Kane gave a curt nod. "The convoy's intact, the Ketrans are running, and the message was delivered. They know what we're capable of now." Price's lips twitched in a faint smile. "Let's hope they got the right message." Inside the council chamber, the atmosphere was electric. The holographic recordings of humanity's defense of the convoy played on the central display, the sight of Earth's ships holding their own against the Ketran raiders drawing murmurs of astonishment from the assembled delegates. Supreme Chancellor Arvist floated above the dais, their crystalline form glowing with a brilliance that commanded attention. Ambassador Price, Colonel Kane, step forward. Price and Kane moved to the center of the chamber, their every step watched by hundreds of eyes. Kane felt the weight of the moment but stood firm, his posture as unyielding as Earth's will. Your actions have demonstrated courage and resolve, Arvis began, their voice resonant. The defense of the convoy was swift and decisive. Humanity has shown it can contribute not only to its own survival but to the welfare of the galaxy. A murmur of agreement rippled through the delegates. Even Lixin of the Elinari, ever composed, leaned forward, her glowing patterns shifting into hues of admiration. But not everyone shared the sentiment. Gras Tokna, his mandibles clicking with barely concealed rage, rose to his full height. Chancellor, while humanity's actions were commendable, their methods remain reckless. They flaunt their defiance, ignoring the traditions that bind us together. Jarnock of the Delaxi let out a booming laugh, cutting through the tension. Reckless? Or resourceful? They acted while you hesitated, Grask. Perhaps you could learn something from them. The chamber erupted into murmurs once more, the divide between the delegates growing clearer. Price seized the moment, stepping forward to address the assembly. Esteemed counselors, she began, her voice firm but diplomatic. Humanity's tribute was not intended as an insult. It was a declaration. We may be new to the stars, but we are not new to struggle. Our history is one of adaptation, resilience, and survival. The galaxy has tested us, and we have proven our worth, not through submission, but through action. Her words resonated through the chamber, silencing even Grask's protests. Price continued, her gaze sweeping across the assembly. Unity is not built on conformity. It is built on the strength of diverse perspectives, each contributing something unique. Humanity offers its strength, not to dominate, but to protect and to build. The Supreme Chancellor raised a glowing appendage, calling for order. The Council has seen humanity's resolve. Their tribute, unconventional though it may be, reflects their identity, a strength born of adversity. Their actions in defense of the convoy further solidify their place among us. A vote was called, the results displayed on the chamber's central hologram. One by one, the delegates cast their decisions, their votes represented by glowing sigils. When the tally was complete, the result was clear. Humanity would remain in the galactic concord, its tribute accepted. Price exhaled quietly, relief washing over her. Kane gave a small nod, his stoic expression softening ever so slightly. As the session adjourned, delegates approached Price and Kane, some offering congratulations, others expressing curiosity about Earth's unorthodox ways. Lixin lingered, her bioluminescent patterns shifting in soft greens and blues. You have surprised us, Ambassador, she said. Few species would have taken such a bold approach. Fewer still would have succeeded. Price inclined her head. Boldness is what keeps us alive. It's what brought us here. And it may yet shape the galaxy, Lixin replied, her voice tinged with respect. Even Jarnock rumbled his approval. If you ever need an ally, humans, you know where to find the Delaxi. Grask, however, stalked past them without a word, his posture rigid with resentment. Later, aboard the Resolute, Price and Kane stood on the observation deck, gazing out at the stars. The battle was over, but the journey ahead was only beginning. They respect us now, Kane said, breaking the silence. Even if they don't like us. Price nodded. Respect is enough. For now. Kane turned to her, a faint grin breaking his stoic demeanor. So, what's next? More tribute? Price smirked. Let's hope not. But if it comes to that, I think we've proven we can handle it. The two stood in silence for a moment, the vastness of space stretching out before them. Humanity had faced its first true test in the galaxy and emerged stronger, its defiance a beacon that would not be ignored. As the Resolute prepared for its next journey, Price felt a quiet pride. Humanity had paid its tribute, not in submission, but in strength. And the galaxy would never forget it.